Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blunt Talk. I am one of your hosts, Crystal, and I am here with the lovely and passionate Red.
That's what we're calling anger every time, right?
Yes,
Nice.
we call it passionate over here. It's not anger, we're just passionate. It's kind of like the same thing of like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Oh, I hate that. Don't even get me started on that one. I hate that so much. I heard that growing up. I'm
Oh
I'm
man.
not even angry with you. I'm just very disappointed. I was like, "Duh. Come on."
It's like, that's worse. Why can't you just yell at me?
Right? Ground me. Don't be disappointed in me.
Speaking of yelling, why don't we talk about the place where everyone seems to come together to yell into the ether, which is social media?
It's my favorite place to yell.
Just scream into the ether because with a place full of drama, none of it actually matters, and you're really just yelling into the void.
Oh no, drama on social media is very important, Crystal.
Oh, is it now?
It's serious. It's real life.
Oh my gosh. Tell me tell me who hurts you and we will deal with this trauma. Uh, seriously though. So since you're the one who came up with the idea for this episode, why don't you kick us off with the subject?
Okay, well, I used to do some of these things and it took me a while before I actually realized how toxic it was, how none of it actually mattered. And then like when it occurred to me and I started really getting away from spending as much time on Twitter that I was. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I would open the app back up, there was always some stupid shit. And I'm just like before I would read it, I'm like, fucking asshole like this. Look at it. Rrr. But now I just like start laughing. I'm like, what the fuck are you even arguing for? And then I started seeing like a bunch of and I feel like I have to come right out of the gate and say it because it's not all about you what I'm going to say. So if you're listening to this and it applies to you, by all means, wear it, lace it up, whatever you want to do if the shoe fits you. So they say. The
Yeah.
screenshot sharing that I see all the time go on is outrageous. You
Mm-hmm.
can take and it really occurred to me, I guess, over the prop situation. I'm not going to get into that a lot. Everyone has their own opinions on it. What he did, yeah, as long as everything lined up the way that everyone was saying, it's fucked up. I'm not out here trying to be like, oh, what he did was right, but seeing some of the people and the lengths that people will go to destroy another human being off of a few screenshots and possible speculation, it really, really got me to a point where I'm like, I am not going to fucking trust any of these people here ever. I'm not going in DM rooms. I'm not fucking answering their DMs. I want to have nothing to do with these people. You, Ginger, and Juan. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much it. You guys are the only three that I can say I 100% trust with any of my information. The rest of it, nah.
Yeah. Which I am honored that I am worthy of trust.
It's all right. I've been saving up screenshots of you too, Crystal. I will drop them out. Don't you make me. I'm just kidding. I know.
Shit. Oh,
Damn it.
shit. I have
I will
blackmail.
I will do a big long threat about how you used to be a sex worker without any actual proof and you will be destroyed.
You know what? The fact that my name is Crystal does not help me in that situation.
No, and it starts with a K.
No! I am screwed. Anyway.
I don't know what that cat face was for.
I think they're just They're either crying or laughing. I can't tell.
It's Matt, so he's probably crying.
But as you were saying, the drama on social media and the screenshot game.
That was one of it. One of the many things I've started to have a major issue with, especially the ones of and like I said, I've done a lot of these things in the past. I'm not proud of it. I can openly admit to doing it. But once I took a step back, I'm like, holy shit, man. As far as share, I think I did it one actual time where it was a actual legitimate conversation. And I regret it. I shouldn't have done it. It was because I thought I was helping what I thought at the time was a friend. But I've come to realize nobody on there is my friend except G3. But so like, well, if I got an unsolicited dick picture, you remember past me, I used to blast that shit all over. Because don't you send your dick and balls to me, dude? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But like, I'm talking people that you were supposedly close with at one time, and you have these private conversations. You're sharing photos of, say, like your kids or yourself. Any of that stuff is now being used against you when you do something that someone on social media does not fucking like. And I have a major problem with that.
Yeah.
The trust is gone. And then people wonder why they're not being trusted. Are you serious?
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, dude, when you post all the screenshots, I don't necessarily feel comfortable in that situation.
Well, plus, I mean, at least with me, pretty much most of the people that have been familiar with how I am and pretty much know I can be an asshole sometimes. So I'm not really overly concerned about it. Because I can say this with 100% confidence. Anyone who would seek, and if there's anybody that hates me in this, just listening and spying, because that's what people on social media do now. They hate you and then they spy on you everywhere across different social media platforms. If you come for me, I will fucking destroy you. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. That's it.
Yeah. And
I had to get that out there. I'm just saying.
Fair. And I think something that all this contributes to the screenshot game and the blasting and the spilling the tea and all those things, something that contributes to that you and I have both discussed leading up to this episode is that it contributes to anxiety. It produces anxiety among people with social media. It can be a huge source of anxiety. I should know. I already have an issue with dealing with anxiety, and being on social media a lot heightened it so much. Especially when I did encounter drama. Now, all the drama I encountered wasn't necessarily public. A lot of it was private, and I'm thankful that it wasn't like brought out to the public. But
I'm thankful for that too.
But a lot of it happened behind the scenes, and even that just contributed to my anxiety. And it's it's honestly why, because I tell a lot of my friends now, like, hey, if I get to you late, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because my phone's off so I don't hear. And that's true. I rarely put my phone on to hear like phone calls or anything, because I got to a point where just hearing my phone go off, it would spark anxiety, even if it was just something harmless of like, hey, how's your day? Because I over time, with all the negative things of social media and some of the negative friendships I was in, and the thinking always accompanying something that was negative, over time I became anxious, because it's like, oh no, what happened now?
Right.
So it's like, now it's like I have my phone off. I never really had notifications turned on, but like now I do, because I have so few people, but I never had my notifications on before. I just silent And I will say it has helped in decreasing anxiety.
All right, Matt, I'm gonna post it and I'm gonna make a thread about you being a major dickhead. You're gonna be a drug dealer, okay? In my thread, you're gonna be a drug dealer.
So I'm the ex stripper or something. Manus is a drug dealer. What's Matthew? What's
No,
Matthew
Matt.
gonna be?
Did I say Manus? I meant Matthew is the drug dealer.
Oh.
No,
Oh,
Manus didn't
okay.
do anything. Manus is nice.
Manus is nice. He's the best. He's friend of the show.
Matt is my dickheaded friend. See, he's like, sounds like a plan. See, he knows. See, and that is a healthy response right there. What Matt actually said. Haha, sounds like a plan. Who the fuck
Yeah.
cares? Who cares what some people who don't even know you think about you? That's why I get so mad when people just fucking disappear because some fucking cunt. Yes, I said the C word. Get over it. What some fucking cunt you don't even know outside of social media says about you. Who cares? I get called a Nazi all the time, a bitch all the time. I call myself a bitch because it's just, who cares?
Yeah, it's that's another thing. It's when I feel like a lot of stuff on social media makes everything seem far bigger than it actually is. Because
Yes.
that's one thing that I've noticed with really stepping back from social media is now, hey, there's actually more important shit out here in the real world. Oh, hey, I actually prefer this over the internet. Where have I been? What is this thing called life outside the internet? Now, I can't say fully that I'm like completely like no social media because I do feel like I've had a lot of positive um things come from social media, like meeting you, Red, meeting Ginger, to doing these podcasts, to meeting some of my my bestest friends came from social. My freaking boyfriend came from social media, man. Like it's not all bad, but still,
A lot of it is.
I found that and stepping away actually helped me realize just how important I do value the friendships I made from this, to the point where now social media isn't just my sole way of connecting to people. Right? Like Red, you can say firsthand, I've been texting you more than I DM you now.
Oh yeah, it's such a relief because I don't have to open Twitter to see if you're talking to me. It's just so much easier to just have a cute little fox picture that you send me all the time that brightens my day. Like having that as opposed to opening Twitter to read your message and then I'm like, well, let me just check my notification. And it's usually just filled with pro-choice whores or feminists that are just angry because their vagina has not been touched in a while is usually what happens. Was that too much?
Maybe, but I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on from it though.
You're so used to just bypassing everything I say to you.
I'm just kind of like, okay, so here's the tea. Wait, not tea. Oh my gosh, I'm getting mixed up. But as you said, like doing it off of social media too, it makes you that's another thing. You're far more focused, spending less time on it. Like I am so much more productive now that I spend less time on social media. It is amazing. like instead of going on Twitter and saying, "Good morning, everyone. I'm going to write this today and I'm going to that," and not doing it. Instead, I actually do it. And sometimes I don't even like make I can't remember the last time I even mentioned I was writing something on Twitter, because by the time I finish actually writing, I'm like, hey, I'm too tired. I don't want to talk to anyone. Why am I on Twitter? I'm tired.
Yeah, now it's just for me. Good morning. Just remember not to be an asshole type of thing or send some stupid just bullshit out into Twitterverse and then just fucking close it and then start texting Crystal.
Yeah, like most of the people I like frequently talk to now, I don't even talk to them on Twitter. I talk to them on something else to remain connected to them.
It's healthier.
Yeah, it is. And again, don't get me wrong. Like I would like to be a bit more active again to talk about my writing because that's the whole reason why I made the account in the first place and to talk to more friends I have on there like Madness and whatnot. But the point is that stepping away from it does really show to you just how social media can have a negative impact on you.
Mhm.
Hello, Juan.
Oh no.
He's just joined us.
I mean, hi. We were just talking about you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you better be careful, dude. Red's
All
got
bad
some
things.
dirt on you.
I got so many
Dude,
screenshots, Juan.
dude, you better be careful. So what other negative effects have you noticed, Red, when it comes to mental health or really just anything in general from social media?
No, Juan, I don't fucking know. I don't listen to anything you say. Um, Negative stuff. I would say it makes people a lot different when they communicate with other people because
Yeah.
they're not, especially if they don't know them outside of social media. They look at them as like an account, not even as another person that's running that account, and they can just do whatever they want, say whatever they want to them, and it doesn't matter. I think it's desensitized people in how they
Mm-hmm.
communicate. Because,
Yeah.
and we discussed this before, I am willing to say 99% of the people, and we've already discussed this, I have no problem saying this shit to people's face. I should have had my teeth knocked out a long fucking time ago. But 99% of these, what do they call them? Keyboard warriors would not have the balls to say any of this shit to people's face. They just wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I think it's a difference in communication of how they
Yeah.
communicate with other people. And I do see that as a negative.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. It really does. And that the desensitization, that reminds me of another thing too, where I've heard people talk about before, like they've had to shut off like notifications on stuff and whatnot because the news cycle would constantly like ping over and over again, and it just be like negative, 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 like all these bad things going on in the world, like just coming at you at once. And it kind of, well, one, it makes you depressed because it's a constant negative, and it also in some cases it can desensitize you because you're just so frequently used to seeing it that you're just kind of like, oh, okay, so it happens again, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really unfortunate and sad, and it's not good or healthy.
No. And like you see, um even the negative stuff on social media gets a lot more attention than say anything positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because people thrive, at least on social media, people thrive on the drama, they thrive on the name calling, the bullying, and it creates all those other things that we had talked about. It causes somebody who might not have severe anxiety. I think it could actually, like, say they just had minimal anxiety. I think social media would escalate and make the
Mm-hmm.
anxiety actually become worse.
Yeah. Which that actually reminds me, because I have an article pulled up from Very Well Mind. I have an article pulled up from them about social media and social anxiety, and it can in cases really make social anxiety worse. Like some of the cons they have listed are it can produce weaker friendships than those built in real life, which isn't always the case because again, I'd say as it stands right now, my strongest friendships are ones that are through social
Mm-hmm.
media. But that's also to keep in mind too that one, other than like church functions and whatnot, I don't really go outside of the house too much. And two, I am in a more, I'm not like that secluded, but I am in a more secluded area. So even if I did go out constantly, I wouldn't necessarily very, very frequently encounter people.
Lucky.
So, right, it's so nice. Country life is the best. So it can produce weaker friendships, risk of feeling left out or inadequate, which is something that the people who cyberbully and abuse online, they tend to really heighten that feeling of feeling left out or inadequate to the point where people now sometimes will call out those who unfollow them. Which I
Don't
never
get me
understood
started.
that.
Don't get me started on that. That's so fucking crazy.
I never understood that, and I am because I used to be such an anxious ridden person, but it got to the point where even I was like nervous to unfollow people because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of what they're gonna do, but because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like dealing with this nonsense. Maybe I'll just leave it so then I don't have to deal with it. But then it's like, but I don't like seeing this person in my feed anymore.
Well, you can always just mute them and then you won't see it. But I don't know. If I'm following someone that I no longer either want anything to do with or I just don't like what they're putting out, I'll just fucking soft block them. And like what you said, they usually if they're at least semi decent, they'll do it privately. Like, hey, I noticed you unfollowed me. I mean, I still ignore those too because it doesn't fucking matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't interact on the timeline. You never interacted with any of my shit. I never interacted with yours. Like, now all of a sudden you fucking notice. Like, what the hell? Who cares? I don't even pay attention to that. Listen, Crystal, you don't want to follow somebody? Fucking unfollow them. Done. Boom. Who cares?
Exactly.
Let them deal with their own psycho shit on their own or with their therapist. They are not your problem. Their emotions are not your problem.
Exactly.
I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
but no, like I actually have had it once where this was on my old account ages and ages ago. I had it once
I'm sorry. I got to stop you a second. Madness did raise a good point. Twitter does sometimes force unfollow. I've actually had that happen to me a few times.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It is. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, we're no longer following each other, depending on my mood, I'll be like, yeah, I soft blocked you. And then I don't answer anymore because I'm not getting into it. But I'll openly, if you come to me and say, hey, we're not following each other anymore, what's up? If I don't answer, I soft blocked you and I no longer care. Or two, I'm going to answer you and say I soft blocked you. But I'm probably not going to give you an explanation unless I have my period, and then I'll probably be a fucking prick. Like, you're going to get one or the other.
Yeah.
Shut up. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. I think I did unfollow Juan when we were in that competition. Wow. When we were in that competition to see who can get more more fun. Or I just soft blocked him, or I blocked him for a while. I don't remember how it went, but it was funny. It wasn't serious.
Yeah. But ages and ages ago on my old account, I actually had one time where, and I didn't even like really at all interact with this person. Like, this was like the first time I was interacting with a person, and I didn't like something they had. I didn't like a reply of theirs to me. Again, like one of the first times we've ever interacted, and they made a tweet out at me like asking if they had upset me because I didn't like their response. And I remember just like private messaging a friend of like, what the heck? Why does this need to be a thing? Why can't we just like let this be? Like I don't get this. It's so bizarre to
Yeah,
me.
it's
At least
weird.
it's bizarre.
It's weird. I've actually had somebody I had this happen a few times, and this is another one we could talk about social media and the craziness, like what it causes people. I've had somebody, and I'm not going to mention names because it's just drama and I don't care. But they because they had a problem with me, we were on a thread thing. I think it was one of those follow thing, and they they purposefully went out of their way to like everyone's tweets but mine. Like it was very passive aggressive, and I seen the same person do it to multiple fucking people, but the only difference was some of the people are like, oh well, I see you're being very passive aggressive and liking everyone's tweets but mine. I'm just like, you did the same thing to me, who cares?
Oh my gosh,
But they'll do that.
I've had the same passive aggressiveness, but I didn't like acknowledge it to the person or on Twitter or anything. But it's like I have had people do that to me before, where it's like some drama was going on, and then they like purposely ignored my existence in a thread. It's like,
yeah,
what the.
Yeah,
Dude,
like you
really?
acknowledge it. You acknowledge it to yourself, but you don't make it like a big deal to everybody else because it is what it is. And if anything, it says something more about that person than it does you anyway. You just have to laugh at that stuff and just fucking let it go because it doesn't matter. These are adults acting this way.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, just remember that. These are adult children.
So another thing that is listed in the cons is increased risk of stress, depression, and internet addiction, and potential disruptions in sleep patterns. Which, in my experience, is quite accurate. In my experience,
I could see that.
It's quite accurate.
I wouldn't say for me like the depression part, but for like the sleep pattern, I would say when I was spending more time on social media, I had a hard time sleeping. But now that I don't spend as much time, like if anyone can tell you, it can be why I'm like, I'm going to bed, I'm fucking tired, I'm old. And like, we'll talk tomorrow. But I'm sleeping a lot better because I don't have that. And I think what happens is your notifications or whatever, you get so amped up from all the negativity constantly on you. Because like me and you both have anxiety. And I mean, mine's gotten a lot better since I haven't been spending as much time on. And what it does, I think because anxiety already gives you issues with sleeping.
Yeah.
And if you use a lot of social media, it actually makes your anxiety, like you said, it makes your anxiety way worse, which messes up your sleep, which messes up everything else.
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, yeah. There were months where I had, and again, it didn't help that I was having like private friendship drama, but I had a time where it was like months I was like either not sleeping or hardly sleeping at all. It was bad. It was bad, but it really can disrupt you, especially with the anxiety thing, because you know what? Yeah, I'll touch on this since we were talking about it before the show. My anxiety really has let up a bit since really pulling back from social media. Like, granted, I still have to do a lot of my own personal work because I still struggle with it, like in my day-to-day life.
Right.
But it really lowers it, and it's like last week and so far this week, it's been, even I'm not in like a positive mood necessarily, it is so weird not feeling anxious along with that emotion. Like I was just telling you today, Red, where I actually had to like sit and concentrate and think about what emotion I was feeling, because I did not recognize feeling that way without anxiety attached to it. It was the most bizarre thing, to the point where I was like, what's going on?
Is this
normal?
happiness?
Is
Is this happy?
But that's the thing, is like it wasn't even like in a positive emotion. I was like feeling like sad or somber, but I didn't recognize it because I wasn't having that like internal freak out along with that emotion. So it's like, this is weird. I feel sad, but I'm not freaking out from it. Is this what it's like to be normal?
I think it's what it's like because you're getting older and you're better able to handle situations where you weren't able to before.
Yeah, definitely that too. But it's so weird because now I know what it feels like to be a normal person, and I'm not used to that.
There's no normal people. That is a myth. No one is normal. There is no normal.
That is true too. Okay, so relatively not freaking out, end of the world, normal.
Okay.
It's weird not running around with my head, running around as if I'm a chicken with my head cut off. But
Ooh, let's talk about that one we talked about when we had our phone call the other day. The one that we were both laughing at and we were like, we didn't understand it. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Or do you
you're
want
gonna
me
have
to
to
do it?
remind me. You're
Okay.
gonna have to remind me.
The parents that bash their kids on social media or talk about
Oh
their
my
kid
gosh.
like for
Oh,
attention.
that. Oh my god. That and the spouse stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take it. You take
Okay,
it.
so like you'll get the parents that like they take like I don't know whether it be a picture or a situation that might otherwise embarrass their kid and they put it on social media for their own gratification to make themselves feel like they're good parents. It's the fucking most bizarre thing ever because everybody knows if you're a good parent, there is no good parent out there that's going to be like, hey, I did this for my kid. Aren't I amazing? Please clap. Because that's pretty much what it boils down to. Especially like what was it? I think it was a long time ago. I don't remember. It was probably on one of my previous accounts. The kid was sick and they were talking about everything that they were doing for their kid. It's not like because I've already posted about my youngest being sick and stuff. And like
Yeah.
this is what it's like having a kid with being delirious. Like like normal things parents can relate to because we've all been there. That's completely different than I think what me and you are referring to. We're referring to stuff like, oh well, my kid has a really high fever and I just went and I got a washcloth for them and I went to the store and got them medicine. It's like, bitch, you're supposed to. Like, what the fuck are you putting it on social media for? You're supposed to, or like you said, the spouse thing. Like, well,
Yeah.
I'll admit it. I poke fun at mine sometimes, but it's not even. I don't even think it's what we're talking about. It's every marital problem you have. People are now posting it on social media. Have you ever seen? I personally seen it on my old Facebook that I had, which is why I ended up deactivating it because I seen husband and wives having fucking fights on Facebook in front of everybody. And it's like you're sitting in the same fucking room. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I really hate those. I like depending on the thing, that's like the one thing that will actually really upset me from social media. I know going against everything that we've been talking about here, but hear me out on this one because I still remember like a while ago there was like this dude that went on like a thread and he was talking about how like he felt like his also read apparently you're getting some echoes from your end.
Yeah, I
I'm not
told you I
sure.
was echoing.
Okay.
I am louder.
hopefully it resolves soon. I don't know. But they had this thread where they, to summarize it, they basically were talking about how like being a dad is hard and how they were starting to feel like having a child was a mistake. Like just this thing about how like they love their son, but it was a mistake or something like that. And
What?
I remember being so enraged. That's like the one thing that would enrage me, because it's like, dude, I actually felt like for how freaking long as a kid that I was a mistake. And you're yourself as a father putting that out there, like you don't like, it's one thing to confide in a friend about like the negative feelings you're feeling after, because sometimes, like there's, at least with like women, there's postpartum depression, and you end up feeling things that you don't necessarily actually legitimately feel deep down, or you're just like really stressed out, so you need to like vent or something, or you're questioning things. That's one thing, but to put it out on like the internet, that to me is just like a whole other thing of disrespect.
Well, it's not even, I mean, okay, you are a lot nicer than I'm going to be. You cannot simultaneously say, I love my kid, but they were a mistake. That's not something you can do as a parent. Now, what you can do as a parent who actually loves their kid is maybe think to yourself, what would my life have been like if I wouldn't have had my kid at this time? Or if I would have waited to have my kid with, when I was married. Those are normal things every parent experiences. But to have a parent say, I love my kid, but they're totally a mistake. Those things don't go together.
Yeah.
You can't love your kid and say they were a mistake. They just don't go together. And that pisses me off. If you, was it on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay. Do me a favor. If you can actually find it and you ever stumble across it, please link it to me, because I would like to talk to them.
I am not fishing.
I will adopt their kid. They can give me their mistake, okay? Because I will love their little mistake.
Honestly, I would prefer if you were their mom, the kid's parents.
Yay!
That would be much better. I'm not gonna go and fish it out, especially since it was on my old account. Plus, it was on my old account, and I'm just like, that's not really me. But yeah, it's no.
I can guarantee that's something I'd get suspended for, and I would have no regrets.
No regrets.
I don't regret any of my suspensions. I earned each and every fucking one of them. And I'll earn the next one too.
That's fair.
It is. If I ever go out again, Crystal, mark my words, it will be well worth it. And it will be glorious.
I should hope so. Though you might have to text me if it happened, because again, I've been spending so little time on social media. What are some other things we discussed yesterday about the negative effects of social media? I'm trying to remember everything, because there was a lot that we covered.
The moms that post half-naked photos of themselves.
That was more so you can take the stage for that one.
Oh, okay. If you're a mother, I'm not even saying you need to dress a certain way. Personally, I think you should dress a little bit more modest, and not just because you're a mother. I think you should dress that way anyway. But especially as a mother, there are certain things you should not do. And one of which is post your half naked body, at least publicly. Like if you want to get a little freaky privately, that's your fucking business. Don't do that shit publicly. Don't do it publicly. Your kid can stumble upon it. Kids are very good with social media now. How do you think that kid's going to feel if like they see it or their friend stumbles upon it? Hey, your mom's practically a stripper. That shit's fucking embarrassing. Don't do that to your kid just so you can get some fucking perv person on the internet liking your picture. That's fucking disgusting. Stop it. Be a mom. The selfie thing really irks me. If you want to take a selfie and goof around a little bit, do it. By all means, do it. But when you do things of a sexual nature, like, and we all know it, you don't even have to even be half naked to do a sexual type of picture. You know what I mean? As a woman, we all know. The
Mhm.
certain way you hold your hand, especially with like above your head. That's sexual stuff. Come on. Everyone knows it is. It just is. It just put your kids first. Think of how you would feel when you were a kid. You can't tell me you don't remember what it's like being a kid. Every little thing you're going to embarrass your kids. You're going to. It's just something that's going to happen. But to do it in a sexual way, and it doesn't even matter which sex kid you have. You could have a boy, you could have a girl. It doesn't matter. It's just going to affect them differently. A girl will think that kind of behavior is acceptable. They'll start dressing that way, and maybe not. I mean, let's be fair. My mom did dress a little scandalous in her 30s. It didn't make me dress that way. It just humiliated me and embarrassed me. And maybe that's why I think the way I do. It's possible. But it's
Mhm.
just something to think about before you post those pictures. You don't temporarily get the attention and sacrifice your kids' feelings to do so. It's really not that important, and it's only a temporary high, and it's going to go away. The way that you're affecting your kid can last for years to come. And it could have
Mhm.
lasting effects on your kid and their life and their relationships, believe it or not. Everything you do is
Yeah.
going to affect your kid.
Yeah. 100%. And to kind of
Men do it
tackle
too.
this,
I should say that. Men do it too, but
mhm.
it's predominantly women.
And to kind of tackle this from a different angle, because as everyone probably knows here, I have a love and passion for makeup and beauty. But so to kind of tackle from a different angle, something I've kind of noticed and I've kind of opened my eyes to now that I've spent more time on social media and that I've been exposed to that side of things more so. Social media can have a very, 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 and not even in a sexual way, have a very negative impact on people's image of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
like with their body and whatnot. And I don't mean the whole the whole trying to make being unhealthily overweight acceptable. I'm talking about like someone just not being thinner than typical or being a little bigger than typical or not having having a somewhat awkward body shape, those sorts of things. Social media can have a very, very, for both men and women, have a very negative impact on them about their own body image and the way they think about themselves, to the point where people it's a thing where people edit their photos and themselves, like not even like just edit their body, they'll edit their face because they feel so self-conscious and like, oh, I need to tweak my nose because otherwise people are going to think I look hideous, or I need to make myself look slimmer, or I need to make myself look curvier, or like all those things. It has such a negative impact on people, to the point where it actually takes effort for people to not want to edit pictures of themselves because they're trying to accept themselves for the way they are and not feel the need to, oh, the only way I'm beautiful is to show myself as something I'm not.
Oh,
And
that makes sense.
it can be really bad. Like there's one beauty YouTuber I watch who she's very skilled. She went to a makeup school and she knows like the techniques and whatnot, and she's worked on clients and she used to work on clients and whatnot. And she's been kind of trying to edit her pictures less. Like this past year is the first year she hasn't edited photos, and she's been talking about how she's been trying not to do that and how her own view of herself has been affected by the industry she's in. And the reason the wake up call that she had was when she and her friend were going through old pictures of theirs that they had posted, and they were having a hard time being able to actually enjoy looking at these memories because they were looking at them and they're like, this is never how we looked like. These are all edited. We never looked like this.
Interesting.
Like that was their wake up call. Of
Well,
like, ooh.
and you know, I did change my views, and I'll always admit when I do, as far as like Lizzo and stuff like that, and people commenting about how big she is. She's a big girl. Not gonna lie, she's a big girl. But what I will say about that, I almost think that it is kind of good. I'm not even sure anymore that it is trying to normalize a negative body image. I'm not sure it is about that anymore. I think it's trying to give the women that have issues losing weight, or the women that are naturally, like you said, bigger than what is deemed acceptable in society. It's to give them the confidence to just be themselves. And anybody who's ever been obese, I've never been obese. I've been blessed in that aspect, but people that have been, it gives them the confidence to maybe be able to lose weight and get where they would like to be.
Yeah.
Because if you make them feel really bad about themselves, a lot of times the people are obese because they stress eat. That's what causes a lot of them to be obese. And when you make them feel bad about themselves, they're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Whereas you could say something, instead of like, I was an asshole before, I would just say like, you're fucking fat. Like, you should not be this fat. And what I could have said, a more compassionate me now, at least I view myself a lot more compassionate than I used to be. This is not healthy for you. You're a beautiful woman. I would just like you to be able to be physically healthy. And there is, I don't care what people say when they go on, well, you're not our doctor. You don't know. You don't have to be a doctor to know being obese naturally puts more of a strain on your heart. These are facts. It doesn't matter how healthy you are on every other aspect. It causes, the extra weight causes your heart to have to pump a lot harder to get the blood to other areas of your body. It's just not healthy. But we should still try to make the fat girls look beautiful. Some of them are I'll tell you what, fat girls have some of the most gorgeous faces. As opposed to us skinny bitches. Let's just be real. Fat women have the most gorgeous faces. We're all fucking screwed, Crystal. All us skinny bitches are screwed if those fat girls start working out, because then they're going to lose weight and they're going to be supermodels. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, I did work out today, Juan. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to say I agree with you in that I've had a similar evolution, and that I never thought that like it was okay to be, you know, purposely rude and harsh to people who were you know, overweight or struggling with their weight. But I have become and I think I've always been more compassionate to it. I've just kind of, I don't know. It's weird, but I do feel I've had a similar evolution, especially since well, this could have been a never knew about episode, but I was a overweight kid. I was very chubby as a child, and I was actually made fun of for it in school. So I like, so I agree with the whole of like, you know, making fun and being rude to them is not going to help them, because a lot of them do stress eat. Now I didn't necessarily stress eat, but it also definitely did not motivate me to change it. It just
some
didn't.
will though. See, I never did it necessarily to be cruel. Maybe part of me, but maybe subconsciously I did it to be cruel. I would hope that I'd be a better person than that. But I think a lot more of it, at least from looking back, I was trying to motivate them, and I didn't have all the facts. I didn't actually pay as much attention as I do now and try to actually listen.
Yeah.
Because I think, being as opinionated as I am, I do have one of the many negative things about me. I have a habit of waiting to talk as opposed to listening to what the other person's saying, which I've been working on. And not everyone reacts the same way, because when
Yeah.
I was coaching gymnastics, some girls they would need that tough love. They would need the cold hard facts, just straight to the point. Other girls would get obviously upset, and you'd have to handle each person differently. So I think to be compassionate, if you want to do it that way, and actually do want to motivate these women or men into losing weight, is to see which way is going to work for that person.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Yeah. And then also, I feel like a lot of people forget also tackling what it is that's causing the overweight, because for some it's a eating disorder like stress eating, binge eating, and then there's medical reasons like I'm blanking on some of them, but there's like some like thyroid. I think some thyroid issues can cause weight increase. Like there's a lot of things that can cause it to make it easy to gain weight, but not necessarily easy to lose weight. And then also on the opposite spectrum, there are some that have a easy time losing weight, but they have a hell of a hard time trying to gain it. And I've encountered quite a few people too who like they want to gain weight and they just have a hard time with it. Hi, Sutherland.
Hi. Yeah, speaking of that, that's why Juan asked me if I started working out, because from quitting smoking and stuff like that, and my metabolism being, I'll be 38 in May, so my metabolism's slowing down, and now that I'm not coaching gymnastics anymore for work, that's not my job anymore. I'm not a physical type of person in my job. So I have found that I am gaining weight. I am actually up to 135 pounds. The most I have ever been, was 160 some when I was pregnant. That's the most I've ever been. And I'm getting to that point where I'm getting the little bit of, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, I'm getting a little bit of like the little love handles, not extensive, but enough for me to be like, okay, I used to have a really nice toned tummy. I'm going to get back to that no matter what I have to do. And I told Juan he has to be my motivator and to fucking yell at me, because yelling at me works. Because then I get super pissed off, and then I'll be like, look, these people don't think I could fucking drop it. I'm gonna fucking drop it. Like just anything that. So maybe that's why I would always try to do it from that aspect, because I'm a little rougher than say you would be. So you probably wouldn't react good to what I need Juan to do to me. Like, listen, bitch, did you work out today? You fat asshole.
Yeah, no, that would not work on me at all. But I am proud to say, since we're on the subject, I have been consistently working out for 2 months now, so I am quite proud of that.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, I even messaged my stepsister. I'm like, hey, and I haven't talked to her since like the Christmas party because we've just been so busy with work. I'm like, okay, I want to lose my little love handles that I'm getting, and I want to lift and tone up my old lady ass. What exercises do I need to do? Go. And then I said, oh, and by the way, also hi. So because she still is coaching gymnastics, while I know the exercises that I could do, because she's been consistently doing gymnastics since she was like toddler age, and she's a few years older than me. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to her. I'm be like, look, you need to call me this name, this name, this name, and you need to give me a list, and this is what I'm going to do. And so my stepsister is essentially going to be my trainer. Just yell and swear at me and shit. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a yeah. I've come to discover I need to be sort of my own self motivator, because otherwise even if I have someone remind me, I'm just not gonna freaking do it. So I've gotten to a point where I'm just like I'm one of those, I have to rely on myself, unfortunately. So
I mean, I can to a point. What a really good thing I've noticed is turning on music tends to help. We need to get back to the social media, Crystal.
Yeah, well, actually, because it's 9:54 now, we should probably start wrapping it up.
Subtweeting is one of the last ones I'll do. And not like everyone's subtweets. I'm talking about specific ones aimed and directed at a specific person, and everyone knows it is, but no one has the fucking balls to actually say it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. And it needs to stop. I used to do that a lot.
Yeah, I've never liked it. I don't think I've even ever done it.
I've done it. I was really mean. I was really mean.
I think I had like rare moments where I was like tempted to, and then I had like that little angel on my shoulder be like, don't do things in the heat of the moment that you'll regret when you're out of the emotion. And it's like, yeah, okay. I'm not
yes, Juan, thank you. We know. I just openly admitted it. But actually, I do kind of owe that to Juan. My friendship with Juan, you, and Ginger has actually helped me grow as a person and be a lot more compassionate. And
That's good.
Thank you guys for that. Even though I still am a little bit of a bitch, I'm never going to lose that, and you can't make me.
I wouldn't even plan on it.
Good.
But you're very welcome. And yeah, I've never subtweeted, but I have had subtweets made about me, which that's always fun, but you know.
Actually, I like it. I actually would rather be subtweeted than to subtweet at this point in my life. Because it means I'm doing. No, I like it because it means I'm doing something right and I'm pissing people off. And that's probably not the healthiest thing in the world to enjoy pissing people off. But part of me does. I will openly admit that I like pissing people off sometimes.
I mean, that's fair.
Crystal's like, we'll discuss this when we go off of the air.
See, I hate it. I hate it. Mostly because well, at least in my case, it was done by people that were like that knew multiple people within my circle, and friends of mine probably not necessarily realizing what it is, and if they like ended up like but basically I hate it. I hate it. Okay, I just do. I don't like being subtweeted about.
Well, you don't have to like it.
Yeah, I think it's so like just take the issue up with the person. Don't play this passive aggressive shit. Like,
well, it is. It's highly immature. I'll be honest. It's immature.
It's like if you have a problem with me, freaking tell me. Like let's hash it out. Like, don't do this thing of like taking something I said and like making a freaking tweet about it. Like, how does that fix anything? It just makes you look like a jerk. It does. But yeah. I
mean, that's how you should do it.
Mm-hmm. At least I think so.
Well, mainly, I'll be honest, mainly with mine, it was people that wouldn't come to me directly. And then I almost felt justified. If I'm being honest, I almost felt justified in doing it because they were doing it. And then I realized that's fucking stupid too.
Mm-hmm. But it happens, especially I mean, look here, I am like trying to justify you, but like in that case, it's understandable to have that gut reaction because then it's almost like a last ditch effort of like, well, I'm not getting to you this way. Let me try this way. Maybe that'll get through your freaking skull.
Well, that's pretty much what it was. If you're going to do it that way instead of, as opposed to coming to me, then it was almost my way to maybe make them think about coming to me directly. Because if they started the subtweeting and they were the ones that had the issue with me, then if they're not coming to me, what makes me think if I would go to them with the subtweets that are obviously for me, they're not going to admit it. See, I would admit
Yeah.
it if someone's came to me, and you know damn well, you've known me long enough. If you come to me and say, hey, was this about me? Fuck yeah, it was. Now, do you have a problem with me? Can we discuss it now?
Yeah.
But no one's going to do that. They just, the subtweeting would continue. And I think that's why I finally got out of it. Because I realized they were never
Yeah.
going to come to me. So it didn't make any
Yeah.
point. And it just pissed me off. So
Yeah. Yeah, so tweets, that's another freaking negative of social media, but what can you do?
listen to Juan. I think I subtweeted once. 38,700 tweets and one subtweet. Shut up, Juan. Mr. Perfect over here.
So, now that it's 10 o'clock, shall we wrap this up with maybe a positive note? Maybe a way of how we can make social media, as Juan likes to say, a better and more fun place.
Yes, stop fucking being pricks. There, that's it.
Simple as that, folks.
Stop being dickheads.
I think it's important to remember the golden rule that we were taught in school, which is treat those as you want to be treated yourself. And also
that might not work for me though.
Also, just don't be an asshole. Be kind to people. Be nice. No.
Can we kind of say don't go out of your way to be an asshole unless somebody's an asshole to you? Because I don't want people to think they can't defend themselves.
Well, okay.
Don't start the fight, but fucking finish it. How about that?
There you go. There's that. Be kind if you can.
All right.
Be kind and go on and make social media a more positive place.
I'm sorry. I read